Hey, you bug rushers. Today we're going to be learning how to make a map and all of that and which it entails, if that makes any sense. We're going to be learning about all the terminology and helpful slash important things that need to be, you know, kept in mind while you're making the map. So what I have here is a simple uh, stained clay, white stained clay actually, area to work with. So we're going to start creating a map. So a map is Well, a map consists of regions. Each region consists of a certain amount of area and shape. So to make a map, first you need to use the map command. So map new, we're going to call this test map. So we now have a test map. A map is, well, as you can see on the right hand side, it's called test map and there are 0 regions. So to create a region, it's pretty easy. Just use RG new, and then you need to give it a type. There are 4 types of regions. Um, there are territories, which players can capture amongst their enemies, capture points in them, things like that. The colors of these areas will be changed. So when you're building, be sure to use some sort of colorful stuff. I'm using white stained clay. However, it shouldn't be this much in a region, but it's very easy to visualize what's going on with this, you know. So, um, there are territories, there are villages, which a village can only be captured in the event that all the regions or territories around them are owned by the same person, and that faction will uh, capture the village and gain some sort of buff. They can also spawn there to defend it. And then there's scenery, where you can just put rivers or mountains or something. It can either indicate that, there's nothing to capture here, or it's towards the edge of the region. And then there's edges, which is literally the point where you can't go there. If you go there, it'll warn you to go back. If you don't, it'll teleport you back. Alright, so the types are T, V for village, S for scenery, E for edge. So we're going to make some territory. So T, and we'll call it territory A. Alright, so we've created that, and you can see on the right hand side it has updated with the name, the size, and the type of the territory. Well, the type, it's called territory. So to start building this region, or shaping it, or sculpting it, you need to use slash brush. Alright, so you have add and subtract. So if you just right click drag, kind of like voxel, you can create, regions. You can also subtract off of it, like so. And there's only one thing you need to keep in mind when you're making regions. Do not cut them in half entirely. That will cause problems. It'll warn you about it when it checks it, but you need to make sure you don't do that. The only reason I'm not preventing it from happening, is because it's very difficult to do real time. So I'm just gonna build this. All right. So I want to have some gates going to the center, and there's 3 factions. So we're going to call this a warp gate. Now, to create another region, all you need to do is make another region. I'm going to call this one Territory B. And yeah, you can just start brushing your territories like so. And yeah, I'm going to make Territory C, and this will be where the mix of factions are, like so. Now, if you want to edit another thing, for example, if I tried to subtract off of this, it won't happen because I'm not selected with territory A. I'm selected with territory C. And you can't subtract something that isn't there, so the way to select another map is either by using RG cell territory A, like that, or you can select it by just being in the certain region with RG cell, like so, and I selected territory B. But I'm working with this one, so I'm going to select territory C. And as you can see, each one can be modified. So with this, um, what you can do is add different types of regions. So we're going to create a village. I kind of want it to be so you have 3 different chains of regions getting into the center of the fight, and then having a village that they'll fight over. So I'm going to create a village. So RG new V for village, village. Yep. And then I'll brush it over. And you can see that this is made of gold or yellow, like so. So I've made a village. I'm going to take out a chunk right here and here. And then we're going to spread some regions around it. So I'm going to create territory D and kind of, well, I'm doing the wrong thing there. I'm going to remove that and then do RG new territory D. There we go. With the type, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to just brush territory D along the side like so. And then I'm going to make territory E, kind of get that around in the middle, you know, give the factions to fight over. Now you want to always make sure that if you have a village, it's not preventing the map from, it's not cutting it off. What I mean by that is if I remove this region and I remove that region, and it's only a straight path to the center with a village in the middle, that won't work, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So, I'm going to create another region here, like so, and I'm going to kind of move this like that. I'm going to try to go out in this direction. And I'll put a final one for the gate for this faction, like so. And then I'll work on the last gate, which I will put, I'm actually going to put a village here. Call this one J. Build a region here. Okay. And then I'll put another one right there. And then all I need to do is kind of make one going towards this faction spawn, the final one. And here's the faction spawn. So, we kind of have a map going on here. I think I want to put, actually, yeah, I kind of want to put one right here and possibly one right there, because this one has a straight in and this one can kind of go around as well as this one. So I'm going to make faction O, or region O, kind of connect it like so. And then P, kind of connect that like so. And these are actually connected by 1, so I'm going to subtract this out like so. There we go. Alright, so now that we have our region, we need to define some things. You can either do these now or whenever, but before you build. So let's get a diamond block, and let's get a carpet. Any color will do, but black usually is easier to see. So each gate or main spawn has 1, and there's 3. There can't be more than 3. There can't be less than 3. There has to be 3. And marking them with the diamond block is how you do that. Now, when you mark them, they don't have to be visible to the player if you don't want to. They just need to have 1 in there. It would be a bad idea to put them in other regions, but it wouldn't matter if it's in scenery or edge. So what I'm doing here is I'm just marking the regions that need spawns in them with carpet, and this is where the players are going to spawn. So let's see. Warp gates right here do need a spawn also. appears to be all of them. If you're not sure, if you're doing a big map or something, you're not sure that you have spawns, all you need to do is map check. And it's actually not going to tell you because it has to build it, and that's to make it faster. So if you do map undraw, to undraw it, you do map build. You can see the percentage on the right hand side. Well, that was pretty fast. So let's redraw it and map check. And it looks like it's fine. It doesn't have any errors, so everything is defined perfectly fine. The warp gates are good. We're good to go. But let's add some scenery first. So what I'm going to do is make a new region. So RG new S for the scenery type. Let's call this scene A for scenery. And you can actually set your brush size higher, the highest being 8. So you just use brush 8 to set the size, and this makes it pretty big. Notice how I'm clicking on the inside to do something like this. That's a problem. So all you need to do is remove that, or go around, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to brush this a little bit here, trim that up, and then I'm going to make another scene, or scenery, and then brush this. That was slightly big. There we go. And I'm going to, kind of brush the scene around like so, and try to get it so it, looks good. And I'll cut this off here. And then I'm going to make a final one, scenery C. And this is to kind of make it slightly symmetrical. I'm going to trim this up a little bit, like so. Alright, now that we have our scenery all loaded, you can see what the map looks like from this. So, we need to make one final thing, and that is the edge. It's not required right now, but it will be. E edge, let's call it that. And with this one, it really doesn't matter, but it should be on the outside of the region. So what I'm doing is I'm going around and brushing it around. And there we go. That is the edge of the region. So now we have a full map. This map is playable soon. So we're going to do map undraw to undraw it so it can build. And we'll do map build to build it up. And it's done. Then we can do map. We can accent it to the certain color to see how it looks. So let's do map accent cry, which is cryptic yellow. You can see on the right hand side the percentage. And it finished. So this is, what the map looks like when it's all accented out. As you can see, this is what it looks like from high up. But what we want to do is something different. We're going to have to accent it evenly. This is what the game will start looking like when you start it. So the benefit for doing this is to make sure that everything is pretty even, because when you accent this, the colors are random, but the regions that they take are not. So if it is uneven when you test this, then it's going to be uneven in the game. So let's do map accent -E. And this will evenly accent the map. Alright, let me just draw this real quick so you can see what's being captured. Like so. Okay, so you can see that every single thing in here has been colored, even the carpets. If I were to put banners, wool, stained glass, colored stained thin glass or whatnot, that'll work. Scenery and edges will never change their color. They're always going to be cyan. So, villages in the beginning are not accented because, as you can see, they're not captured by all the things around them. If purple wanted to capture this village here, they would have to capture this, this, and that. which would end up capturing that and giving them a buff. But currently they can't do that. So, now that this map is accented and all good to go, we can kind of check around and see, like, is it good, does that, work out? And it kind of looks like purple is taking a lot. So what I could do is I could cut out this scenery right here and put a region, which would encourage the faction on this side, red being right now, to capture this. And I could also thicken this a bit or add another one entirely. But maps will be bigger than this because, let's be honest, you can't really fit anything in a small region like so. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another region and give you an example of what a sour map is. A sour map is a map that is not built correctly. It's hard to explain because there's a lot of things that can make a map sour when you build it, but we're going to make a new map. So map, new, test, map, B. Alright, we're going to do map, new, or RG, new, T, territory A. Let's do that. And these are pretty big brushes. I'm not going to do such big brushes. I'm going to do brush 2. And I'm just going to build some territories as, like so. And the problem with having a sour map is it won't work in the game. And there's one way to really cause it that I'm aware of. And that's if you take a village, let's just call this one V, and put a village. And remember how I stated that you have to have at least 3 around a village. That's a rule of thumb. If you were to do less than that, you would have some problems. For example, if I were to create a new territory and start brushing like so, these aren't connected. So this is going to cause some problems, and I'm going to demonstrate what that looks like. And I'll connect this around, make like a, center kind of fight. So these are connected. And then I'm going to trail them off by making another village here. And a village here. And then I'm going to make their territories. Territory F. Territory G for their spawn. Territory H. And territory I. Alright. This looks kind of fine, but it's actually pretty bad. So let me explain. Let me put down the gates that I want for the spawns. And then I'm going to put down the actual spawn points. And we look fine. I don't need to put the scenery or the edge, but I could if I wanted to. But I'm going to test it, so I'm going to do map check. And I need to build it, so map undraw. There we go. Map build. Let's build it up. Then we're going to do map accent -E. And it's gotten sour. The entire map, it cannot establish a connection. And let me explain that. So the way the even accenting algorithm works is it will start at the warp gates. So 1, 2, and 3. And one by one, it'll capture the next closest territory. So the first part of the algorithm starts here. It captures this. The next one starts here, captures this. Next one starts here, captures this. However, what happens is, well, the next one starts here, can't capture this, looks for another one to capture, and then panics because it can't capture anything else. Now, if we had something going around it, for example, that would work. So let's edit it. Let's do map or region, new t territory, whatever, t fix. We'll call this the fix. And we're going to just brush this around like that so they connect. And why not? We'll make 2 on each side to help it out even more. Alright, we got that one. Go for here. Connect these. And we'll connect these. Alright, so now we need to put the spawns in the newly created regions. Like so. And spawns can actually have multiple like this, and it'll pick a random one. So you could do something like this, and then somewhere else put one here, and it will randomly pick one as such. Alright, so now that we have these, let's go ahead and undraw it and build it. And we'll build it. And then we'll accent -E. And as you can see, it worked, because the algorithm now had a way to go around. So, next one. It doesn't panic though, because it has 2 choices this time. So it can go here, then it can go here. Purple can do the same. Now, it looks like this isn't the best way to fix the problem. Better way would be to place the villages in better, areas. Maybe if I were to fill up this area, it would work better. But it works, at least. You have fighting going on here. But it looks like purple has the upper hand in this situation, so what would happen is you would either try to balance it more, or you could let it go and just, have the fight start out on purple mostly. By nature, that would happen. Alright, so now that we have this all defined, that's really pretty much all there is to map building right now. What you would do next is actually either, make it over a pre-built region or something of that sort. If you're building a map or something like that, the best way to do this is you can, if you have, like, for example, a mountain, let's just say this is a mountain right here, you can undraw it. And the block that you're looking at, that block's level is where it will go. So if I do map draw, you can see it's drawn above it. And that's definitely better because now you can work with the terrain. And you can go as high as you want. You can undraw it and redraw it or whatnot. But if you were to brush on something, it won't brush on the ground. It'll brush on the layer that it's currently working with. And we can see that this map looks pretty nice. So you've got your spawns and all that, and you got your scenery, and pretty much everything. So yeah, that's how you make a map, and thanks for checking this out. I hope to see you on the Glacial Rush server. See ya.